Prudent Boy and the Righteous Path, translated by High Priest Adrian Dalvaric. Once there was a middle-aged man who lived on a modest but comfortable farmstead with his 3 young boys. He was a sincere and wise man, yet he had never recovered from the early death of his wife. Having said his final goodbyes to her with dignity, she had set out on her last voyage and was now wandering the eternal paths in a new and different life. His own life, however, was bleak. Neither the sight of beautiful men and women nor the soothing words of the priest from the village's chapel, located not far from his farmyard, could warm his heart. One night, as he was starving and sleeping with his 3 very young lads in his barren house, he raised his hands frantically towards Ark, where according to the will of Malphas, the Holy Order reigns in the stony halls of the Sun Temple, caring for his followers. From my first steps in this world up to this very moment, I have stayed true to the Path Lord. I have fulfilled my destiny, built a farmstead and married Marga. I did what my mark demanded me to do, yet I stand here now and I am alone. I am suffering and cannot ensure a pleasant future for my children. If only I had not come to this desolate plot of land, Marga would still be alive and I would be the successful tailor that I always wanted to be. So Malphas heard the lament of the poor man. It filled him with sorrow to see one of his followers suffer, yet he decided to wait, knowing full well that this was the only truth path. So the years passed by, and the man raised his 3 boys with sternness and fatherly love, but without teaching them about the path. On their 6th birthday, he did not take them to the consecration where they would have received their mark and their destiny, as is right and proper. The oldest of the 3, Lucius, was an avid reader who, despite the hard work he had to carry out, he found the dusty tomes of the path, which his father had never read to him, and he understood why his father had been granted such a grave fate, even though other paths had apparently been available. And so Lucius came to him one stormy evening in autumn and spoke the following words, which would lead the old man back once more into the protecting arms of the Lord. Father, I see how much mother's death still affects you. You have often asked yourself why you are living this life instead of another one, and in response you have turned away from the path. Yet I will accept your decision if you can answer me one question. Far away in a land that did not follow the path and from which the gods hid their faces, there was a small village with 5 strong, healthy men. The society was in need of food, for they would not survive the winter without meat and wheat. And so the village elder summoned the 5 men to assign them their tasks. First he raised a blacksmith's hammer and asked, "We require sharp blades to defend ourselves against the wolves this winter. Who among you will smith swords for us?" Yet not one of the men responded. Then the elder pointed at a rusty bow, which hung above the tribe's throne. "Well then, we are in need of a skilled fletcher who will craft us arrows and bows to hunt game in the steppes in order to obtain fresh meat." Still, none of the men responded. The elder sighed wistfully and eventually said, "We may survive without meat, and with a little luck the wolves might spare us this winter, yet we still need a sturdy farmer who will sow the seeds and harvest the crops before the leaves start to wither." Yet still the men remained silent. Finally tears came to the old man's eyes. "What is it you want then? Explain yourselves, for without your help our village is doomed." "Well," one of the men said, a handsome man with thick blonde hair and athletic physique. "I have always known that it was my vocation to paint pictures. I feel it deep in my heart, and that is exactly what I will do and nothing else." And so the village did not outlast the winter. This is what you have not understood, Father. The well-being and self-fulfillment of an individual does not always come first. Unity and strength will never flourish in a society where everyone follows his own will and has his own opinion. Such societies will never stand the test of time. How foolish it is for us, O Father, to question our life night and day. We will never find any answers, for we do not possess the divinity of our Lord, who is doing everything to give to us a fine life. Even when the path is difficult, we must pursue it, not for our own good, but for the good of all. And so the old man fell to his knees in awe towards Ark and asked Malphas for forgiveness with a penitent voice. He had realized the truth, for each creature born in these beautiful lands is entrusted with 2 duties, the first and foremost of which is to respect the gods and hold them in high esteem, those gracious builders of our society who shoulder many burdens every day to grant us a pleasant life. The second but no less important task is remaining true to one's path, pursuing of one's true destiny. Malthus's voice chimed from the stone halls, stirred by the man's sincere grief. His words were addressed to everyone, his faithful and unfaithful children alike. O children, apart from your path, only darkness and mourning await you. Not that I am the one punishing you, but life itself is. Do not fret if your destiny holds less rewards for you than that of a high keeper, for in the end, O you who keep the path, you will all set on your last journey upon the eternal path to experience the great truth. Then he said in a benevolent voice to the man who had strayed and the father of the prudent boy, "You shall be forgiven, return to the path and I shall wait there for you."